Hey, what is up guys? We finally have a broker that is regulated by MAS Singapore, backed by CIMB Group, providing access towards a variety of products such as stocks, ETFs, bonds and options and etc. over 30 exchanges across the globe, and most importantly, it all comes at a pretty reasonable price tag. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna talk about ProsperUs, a very young broker that have just entered the brokerage industry not long ago and is still flying under the radar. But not for long, because today I'm gonna cover the following items, and I will also have a timestamps down below in case you want to skip to relevant sections. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's content. Let's start with an introduction to ProsperUs, a MAS Singapore licensed brokerage firm founded by CGS-CIMB in November 2020. And if you don't know already, CGS-CIMB is a 50-50 joint venture between CIMB Group and China Galaxy International Financial Holdings, whose ultimate parents are publicly listed in their respective countries. For those of you who are currently trading with CGS-CIMB iTrade, I'm sure you must be familiar with this name already. Now, let's take a look at the markets offered by ProsperUs. As I've mentioned earlier, they offer a vast array of financial markets ranging from US, where you can buy your GameStop, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft, Tesla and etc. Hong Kong, China, Singapore, Australia, Canada, Germany, rest of Europe, UK, where you have access to London Stock Exchange, where you can get your hands on island domicile ETFs that can help you in terms of tax efficiency. I have previously made a video on how you can do that to save yourself from paying too much dividend withholding tax. Links at the top right corner. Back to the list, you also have access to the Tokyo Stock Exchange in Japan and our beloved Bursa Malaysia. Now, if you ask me, I personally love the US market, where I can get shares like Tesla and Apple. And occasionally, I would like to have access towards the island domicile ETFs on the London Stock Exchange. And maybe, just maybe, sometimes I would like to have access towards Bursa Malaysia. But regardless, I do think this broker has something unique to offer for those of you who are looking to settle down in an all-in-one account. Alright, let's move on to the products offered by ProsperUs. At a glance, they offer almost every investment products that you can think of. Equities, which are stocks like Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Alibaba and etc. Bonds, ETFs, short for exchange traded funds such as the ARK Invest ETFs, S&P 500 ETF, Nasdaq QQQ ETF and etc. Mutual funds, CFDs, short for contracts for difference, FX, short for foreign exchange, where you trade currency pairs, futures, where you can trade commodities, bonds, currencies and whatnot, and lastly options, where you can YOLO and lose your house with a click of a button. That's it. I personally only stick to cash trading with stocks and ETFs just because those are within my circle of competence. And I don't really recommend beginners to dabble with financial derivatives such as CFDs, Forex, futures and options, just because their inherent volatility and risk is significantly higher, and on top of that, you would need to trade on margin, which is probably the shortcut to Holland. Alright, let's move on to the juiciest part of the entire video, the pricing / brokerage fee section. I will just show you the pricing for stocks and ETFs, and they are further divided into 3 account tiers: Rookie, All-Star and Hall of Fame, depending on the size of your account. For most of us, we can just look at the pricing for the Rookie account with the size of below 20,000 Sing dollar. So okay, we all got to start somewhere, right? Let's start with equities or stocks. For Asia Pacific market, they charge 0.1% to 0.15% of the trade value as commission fee. What's special here is there is no minimum fee. Moving on to North America, this is where we can buy all of the US stocks at a flat rate of $5 regardless of your trade value. For example, if you buy 1 share of Apple, you will be paying a flat fee of $5. Or if you buy 50 shares of Apple, you will also be paying a fixed fee of $5. So in comparison to other brokers such as TSG IBKR, which charges $1.50 per trade, or Moomoo and Tiger Brokers, which charge like $2 per trade, this does seem like a little bit pricey for one single trade. But if you ask me, those differences are pretty marginal, especially if you are those buy and hold kind of investors that don't really trade that much. Like I myself, I trade like 3 to 4 times a month, which is not much all things considered. So for $5 per trade, I am personally happy for a broker that is regulated by MAS plus backed by CIMB Group, which I think is pretty fair enough. Now let's look at the Europe market. Again, the main highlight for most of us here would be the London Stock Exchange, which charges 0.1% of commission fee with no minimum amount. Alright, that's it for stocks. Now let's look at ETFs or exchange traded funds. Even though they show that their ETF is CFD here, they actually offer both actual ETFs and CFD ETFs. I've confirmed this with their customer support. Anyways, for the Asia Pacific market, they will charge you 0.1% for the Australian market, 0.25% for the Hong Kong market, and 0.17% for the Singapore market. As for the North American market, you can get your hands onto most US ETFs at a super low cost of 2 US cents per share without a minimum fee, which is way cheaper than any other broker out there. As for the European market, they charge 0.1% without a minimum fee as well. So theoretically, if you bought one share of CSPX ETF at 434 US dollars, you will be charged 43 US cents only, which is a steal if you ask me. But just a little bummer, this fee only lasts until end 2021. After which I believe they will impose a minimum trading fee for their London Stock Exchange. And thanks to this Sidley forumer for digging out the web archive, their old rates will be 9 Great Britain pound per trade. And if you are curious about their older non-promotional rates, I will leave a link down below for the web archive by the forumer. And just take note that these are old numbers and they may or may not revert back to those numbers, so please take it with a pinch of salt. So that was a quick overview of the pricing structure. Now let's take a look at the account funding, because depending on where you live, this might be a very daunting topic for a lot of people. To begin this, ProsperUs accepts funding through 3 different methods. Method number 1, Pay Now in Sing Dollar, which only works with certain Singaporean banks and non-financial institutions listed here, so not very accessible for non-Singaporeans. But fret not, because we have method number 2, which is Fast Transfer in Sing Dollar, which works if you have any Singapore bank account. For Malaysians, you can open a CIMB Singapore bank account, all done online from Malaysia. I will leave a link at the top right corner. Method number 3, which is telegraphic transfer. This is what ProsperUs show us on their funding FAQ section, which to be honest is a little bit hard to understand, but if I understand it correctly, ProsperUs accepts telegraphic transfer in Sing Dollar, Ringgit, US dollar and Hong Kong dollar only. I will let you guys know again if I get an update on this, so remember to check the pinned comment down below for any updates and corrections. Now this is where things get tricky. When you apply for a new account with ProsperUs, you get to choose one currency account, Sing Dollar or US dollar. If you are from Malaysia or Singapore and want to fund the account with Sing Dollar, choose Sing Dollar. Or if you are not from Malaysia or Singapore and you want to fund it in US dollar, choose US dollar. So if you have chosen the Sing Dollar currency account, you can only keep cash in Sing Dollar. So whenever you want to buy stocks on US market or the UK market or the Hong Kong market, your Sing Dollar will be automatically converted into that respective currency each trade at their prevailing FX for free. That is right, the conversion is free, but the conversion rate is actually set by ProsperUs, so you will most likely lose a little bit in terms of currency conversion. I've double checked this with their customer support, so feel free to pause the video if you want to read their reply. However, from what I read, you can actually have more than one currency account on top of your default Sing Dollar currency account. So for most of us, that is not very reachable, but regardless, I think we can still live with the Sing Dollar currency account, especially if you are not a high frequency trader. So all things considered, the currency conversion losses will be pretty minimal. Now, after going through the details in this video, should you start investing with ProsperUs? Well, I have 2 answers for you, a short and simple one and another long but better answer. The short answer is yes, if you are looking for a broker that is regulated by MAS Singapore, backed by a bank in the name of CIMB Group, which will give you a higher sense of security, plus access to so many financial markets, and comes with a pretty moderate to low brokerage fee. I think all things considered, look no further, ProsperUs is definitely the choice for you. For the long answer, it depends on what you personally prefer. If you value lower commission fees because you trade a lot, or if you value FINRA regulation because that is pretty much the standard for most US brokers, or longer track record with the experience of weathering through various financial crises, or better platform user experience with more community guidelines and forums and videos and tutorials, then maybe, just maybe, online brokers such as Interactive Brokers, TSG, IBKR, or TD Ameritrade would suit you better. But if not, ProsperUs is almost perfect, all things considered. So long story short, according to this broker ranking pyramid that I've made in my previous video, I would gladly put ProsperUs up in tier 1 for the time being. So yes, I personally highly recommend ProsperUs to you. By the way, I will follow up in coming weeks for an account opening and setup guide, so make sure to subscribe and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss it. If you need a referral code, I currently don't have any with me as of the recording of this video, but do check out the pinned comment section down below. I will keep you guys updated if I have any referral code for you. Anyways, let me know what do you think about ProsperUs. We will be opening an account with them. I will see you in the comment section down below. Before I end this, I just want to give a huge shout out to the local Lawyer Forum community. Do check out the forum in the link below if you want to join the local ProsperUs community. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, a little like for the YouTube algorithm will be very much appreciated. And with all of that said, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay invested, and as usual, I will see you in the next one.